Oh, my Jesus, I praise you. Good morning and welcome to our Friday morning live webinar. It's our thought for today, and it's good to welcome, it's good to welcome Sister Jenny in sunny South Africa, and to welcome back Sumitra. Welcome, dear brother, and Brother Michael, and welcome to Doug and to Patricia. Happy feast of the conversion of St. Paul. Thank you, dear brother. Thank you. And who else have we got with us? Well, whoever else joins us, you're more than welcome. And now we begin by just asking you to relax for a few minutes or moments and just center yourself. Make yourself comfortable. And we ask the Holy Spirit to be present during this live webinar and to reawaken your heart to hear the words that are shared from my heart to your heart. And our first reflection for our thought for today is the house of love. The house of love. And the book it's from is by Henry J.M. Newven. You are the beloved. Do not be afraid. Have no fear is the voice we most need to hear. This voice was heard by Zechariah when Gabriel, the angel of the Lord, appeared to him in the temple and told him that his wife Elizabeth would bear him a son. This voice was heard by Mary when the same angel entered her house in Nazareth and announced that she would conceive, bear a child, and name him Jesus. This voice was also heard by the woman who came to the tomb and saw that the stone was rolled away. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. The voice uttering these words sounds all through history as the voice of God's messengers, be they angels or saints. It is the voice that announces a whole new way of being, a being in the house of love, the house of the Lord your God. The house of love is not simply a place in the afterlife, a place in heaven beyond this world. Jesus offers us this house right in the midst of our anxious world. And that house is the house of love. What are those words saying to your heart? What's so surprising is that despite our modern technology, where everybody's got a mobile phone, I have, it's in the drawer and it stays there. And most of our community have iPads, iPhones, and mobiles. So they're in touch with one another. But so many forget to text their God and say, Lord, I'm ready to enter this house of love. God's house of love is present in the heart of the children of God who have surrendered their heart to love. Not to any old kind of love, but to the love of God. But it's so easy. Yes, it is. It's so easy to lose sight of that house of love because we're in a beautiful world, but a world nonetheless that has various shadows. You've got light and dark, night and day, yin and yang, positive, negative. And so often in our vulnerability, we get trapped to the stresses, the fears, the anxieties, and the worries. And monasteries are no exception. Because I've witnessed it myself as a young postulant, a novice, a junior professed, and almost a finally professed monk, where many monks can sometimes, through weariness, through shortage of manpower, and through busy commitments such as running busy wards in their hospitals or nursing homes, can get so stressed out and burn out that they lose sight of the house of love. We're human. So to be in this world and to nurture that house of love, we have to be disciplined. That's the only way I can share this with you. You have to be disciplined in your mind, in what you look at, in what you read, in what you see. Disciplined in your hearing, in what you hear. And disciplined in how you live out your life. There's no use doing a pas de deux in the spiritual life with one leg in the world and one leg in the house of love. The two legs have to be together, or you end up having a problem. And it is easy to lose sight of God, so easy. And what leads so many away from God and from holy orders and from the monastic life and from our community, they get bored. Their pride seems to feed off the adulation of their friends and family and clients and colleagues. And they lose sight of one important thing, that they were called to be a people of prayer. So if you want the house of the Lord, the house of love, to really mean something for you today, you have to have a conversation, not with your mobile phone, but with the Lord your God. You have to sit down with a humble heart and ask from love, Lord, how do I protect your house of love within my being? And he'll tell you. Now, our second, just excuse me a moment. I still have this tickle in my throat. Our second reflection, again, a challenging reflection from the little booklet called the United Christian Broadcasts, freely posted every quarter of the year. And for today, our reflection, 4 words: saying the right thing. That might evoke high blood pressure for some of us. And the author guides us to a quote from the book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 12. I will teach you what to say. Wise words. But who will teach us? Our ego, our false self, or our best friend? Well, let's read what the author shares with us for today. Sometimes we excuse someone's critical attitude by saying, oh, his bark is worse than his bite. I've said it many times. True, a dog's bite can hurt, but so can a dog's bark. It can traumatize a child and leave them filled with fear. Think about the comparison. Do you want to be likened to a dog? Sometimes it's necessary to confront someone in order to set healthy boundaries for your own good, or to keep them out of harm's way. But Jesus spoke with compassion much more often than he spoke with confrontation or condemnation. Writing about her early experience as a believer, Karen Casey Ameson says, I re-entered the kingdom scarred and bleeding, hoping to find healing for my wounds. And I did find some bathed my bite marks and bound up my old wounds. But I found out there cannibals in Christendom. Though you mightn't recognize us, we're the sweetly smiling sisters who bite your back when you turn away. The nosy Nancys who come sniffling around for the scent of some juicy morsel of gossip. Or the Jennies of this world who can't make their mind up but who'll blame you anyway. God warns, if you bite and devour one another, you will be consumed by one another. Strength to resist our natural appetites comes through satisfying our hunger at another source. But the psalmist says, taste and see that the Lord is good. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Psalm 34, verse 8. The nature we feed is the nature that grows strong. And without vigilance, we can easily fall into old habits. Wise words. A little snacking on this one, a little taste of that one, and before we know it, we've unleashed the cannibal within. Gosh, they're strong words. We've released the cannibal within. While we're called to help our brothers and sisters caught in sin, we're also cautioned to watch, or you also may be tempted. Galatians 6, verse 1. So saying the right word. Gosh, when I look back on my life, I could cringe because there have been times in weakness, under pressure, running a busy ward, a teaching ward with 30 odd patients and ward rounds from consultants, 7 of them a day. And sometimes you slip up and you say the wrong thing at the wrong time. I repent of that. No wonder the nurses in training called me the general. I was so strict. I can't believe it, but it's true. But even in the monastery, I encountered well-meaning monks who had a mouth like a cesspit. They thought nothing of destroying another's character because they disliked them. That's one of the downsides of community. We don't choose the community. God chooses the community. And you're put together with brothers whom you will like and many you won't like. And as young monks in training, we did encounter some of the older monks who were lovely, saintly, kind-hearted, but there were others who really should never have been in the monastery. And they were angry, vindictive, spiteful. And they would do anything to trip you up. Never a kind word. Well, one day, I happened to meet such a brother monk and say to him, "Brother, why are you so uncharitable? What ails you?" He said, "If you've any sense, you'll get out of the monastery because it's not meant for someone like you. Most of us are embittered because we were forced into the monastic life by families because it brought street cred to their image." Now, this was Ireland. And I was quite upset about that. Why should I leave the monastery? Because it could make me deeply unhappy. But it made many unhappy, and you could see it in their faces. But they would never say the right word to you, a word of encouragement. And I found that when I went to live in North Wales 30 years ago, where I was a senior nurse in palliative care, caring for the dying. And someone said to me, "Be mindful of the Hat Brigade." And I thought, what are you referring to, the Hat Brigade? The Welsh chapel, the women went with the fanciest of hats. They looked stunning. But my God, if you met them when they came out of chapel, oh, talk about tear one another apart. And I witnessed it for myself. But the Welsh aren't on their own. I found it in my own church, where they say the nicest of things to the priest, but then behind their back, they're so unkind and scurrilous. But what about you? I've shared about me making mistakes. Have you made any mistakes? Have you been in a place where you've said the wrong thing to the wrong person at the wrong time? Sometimes it's hard to get over it, especially when you've hurt them in retaliation. But you know what's so beautiful? Our God is a forgiving God. And I want to show you something, because right behind the web camera, I have had an icon for many, many years. And when I feel vulnerable, and when something of my past appears to bite me on the bottom, I come in and I look at this icon and I realize that I have a loving Father who cares for me, regardless of what I've done, regardless of the mistakes I've made, regardless of my lack of charity or humility. And I'd like to show it to you. Just excuse me. You've seen it before. It's Rembrandt's wonderful painting, The Prodigal Son. Look at the face. Look at the face of the Father, the tenderness. Look at the Son's head resting on the Father's bosom. But look at the Father's hands. And now look at his feet, how disheveled he'd become. And that is my God. But it took me many, many years of soul searching to believe that. I guess it was because of my birth father, who was a lovely looking man, a wonderful voice, but behind closed doors, he wasn't so nice. He was a violent man. And being his eldest son, I copped for it from my brothers and sisters. And I came to view God the Father as being such a man, a tyrant, who blew hot and cold. But it took a complete breakdown 30 years ago, no, 24 years ago, where I lost everything, even the shirt on my back, our 7-bedroom, beautiful guest house for nuns and nurses in need of respite. Everything I lost, and I had to learn to walk again. But thank God, that breakdown became my breakthrough. And the Father God was just like the old man on this icon. And I visualized me being the son who had everything. But then illness struck, and it teaches you a salutary lesson. Hold everything light. Don't allow materialism erode your heart. Hold everything lightly. Because one minute you have it, and next minute it's gone. That was one of many lessons I learned. And always travel light. I own nothing except the use of 2 habits. Everything I gave away when I took my solemn vows. But yet I've everything. And my vow of providence, one of the 7 vows we take, means that my Father, Mother God meets all my needs, literally. So I have nothing to fear because I work for a caring boss who's sympathetic, forgiving, and understanding. And he encourages us to say the right thing, many times to those who don't want to listen. Oh, yes. And he leads us to places where we would rather not go. And to allow ourselves to be present for God to speak through us. And then what he does, he wipes it from your memory. So you've no recollection of what you've said, which suits me down to the ground because it takes away your pride. Let us reflect. Let us reflect on the readings. Our house is a house of love, God's love. And saying the right thing. Let us be still. Close our eyes. Just close our eyes. And just allow yourself. Feel your heartbeat. Listen to your heartbeat. And now listen again. There are 2 heartbeats. And the second heartbeat is Christ, who's come to you this morning to say, when you surrender your heart to my heart, there will always be 2 heartbeats. When you surrender your mind, body, and spirit to my love, I will provide for you. And when you say yes to all that I ask of you, you will never say the wrong thing to anyone, but only the words I give you. And the Lord presents us with a choice today. He calls you by your name. Come, follow me. And those who say yes, many walk away because it doesn't suit them. They're not meeting the right kind of people. How sad. And those who do stay, they are blessed with great abundance in their mind, body, and spirit, for they have the peace of God and two heartbeats, that of Christ and your own. But Jesus, the Son of God, calls every child of God, come, taste and see that the Lord is good. Walk with me. Walk with me. And many are afraid to surrender. They're afraid to surrender to their God. How sad. It is such a privilege to be called by name. I never appreciated it, Lord, as a young monk, but I so value now, dear Lord, the privilege of being called by you to be your hands and your feet and your beating heart in a community that I love, where I am loved and where you are loved, and where there are no hidden agendas to control, to conform, to convert, only to love. Lord, give to each one of us here now an inner knowing that no matter how far we fall down into the gutter, no matter how many uncharitable words we may have used, or no matter how many times we've taken you or others for granted, we come to you like the prodigal son, and we say, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. Lord, I am sorry, so sorry. I come before you, Lord, in my vulnerability, offering you my availability. Show me, how may I be of service to you today as your child, so that I can live in this house of love and only say the right things that matter. Here I am, Lord. Here I am. I come to be with you. Namaste. Shalom. Inshallah paxet bonum om shanti. Solo di caritas. Salam alaikum. And may the peace of the Son of Peace guide your heart today to experience the two heartbeats and to allow you sense that you are living in the house of love, God's house. Thank you for joining me this morning, and I do look forward to your company again soon. God bless. Take care. And my love from our little monastery here in Cumbria, I send to you. And if you're struggling, then contact me or email me with your request, and I will pray with you, for you, in this house of love. Amen. Amen. And blessings, dear Catherine, from Mid Wales. Bore da Sadaki. Oh, thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel. What a joy. Bless you. I pray that one day you will come and visit us on our YouTube page, our Facebook page, which I will give you now the link in the little message box. But give my love to Mid Wales. I've such fond memories. Diolch yn fawr, Gariadi. Diolch yn fawr. Bless you.